Hi, Candace. Nice to see you live and in person.
I know.
Like shocking.
Okay, so, yep, we can go ahead and get started, Chair Cohen. We have the recording.
Thank you all for coming today. Let's establish a quorum. Would you like to take roll, please?
Yes, I will go ahead and start with Commissioner Buckle,
Here.
Commissioner McGowan,
Here.
Commissioner O'Reilly,
Here.
and Chair Cohen.
Here.
So we do have a quorum of 4 commissioners present.
Thank you so much. Okay, the next order of business is our pledge of allegiance.
Is Commissioner Lee participating?
He's in public.
Oh, he's public.
He's public.
Yeah.
Okay.
You wanna put the flag up or no?
We have a physical flag.
Oh. Okay, everybody ready? Yeah. On 3, 1, 2, 3. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item is public comments on items not on the agenda.
So, Chair Cohen, we do have 2 people that have submitted speaker cards. So the first person I will go ahead and go with is the first one, which is Gail.
Hi, everybody. How we all doing today?
This is our first time back here.
Oh, I'm
So it's very exciting.
Yes. Wow.
Miss Gail?
Thank you. Are you the chairperson,
Yes, I am.
obviously? Okay, and are you with Hills or Flatland?
Oh, flat.
Okay, that's what this gentleman over there. Jamie is passing out something, that I'm gonna take 2 seconds, if you don't mind just reading it or looking at it. Jamie, we're gonna also send her, a link so she can pass it on to some of the other commissioners that aren't here. So, my name is Gail, and, Gail Osmer, and I'm with Seniors for Fair Housing. And, I kind of found it, I don't like to really speak in public, so I get really nervous, believe it or not. But I kind of found it ironic for me to come here today and speak. And, why I'm saying that is because you're reconsidering your age-friendly recertification. And as you all in this room know, that you all were the first city to be designated by the WHO, a World Health Organization, to become age-friendly. And within that, I know it's on the agenda, but we're not talking about it. Within that, we have 8 domains, and one of them is housing. So I want to speak a little bit about this senior housing proposal that you all have in front of you. And I'm sorry, folks at home where this gentleman doesn't have it, but Silver Oaks of Los Altos Hills is 100% senior housing community. It's self-contained. They have everything right there. It is 88 units, and 20% of that 88 units is reserved for low-income housing for seniors. Supporting the senior housing will allow Los Altos Hills to be in compliance with the state law. I'm also asking if each and every one of you could reach out to your Los Altos Hills City Council people to redirect them to step up on this senior housing in the hills. You know, we all know that seniors are our most vulnerable population, and they need to do the right thing. They need to step up and approve this proposal so they will be in compliance with the state law, with the federal law. And I don't really have anything else to say. If you have questions, I don't know if you have questions or you can have questions, but this is a very important issue. I know it's hard for a lot of people to accept this, But I think senior housing, I think low-income senior housing is something that is needed, especially in Los Altos Hills. So thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Gail.
If my math is correct, that would be eight,
Clarifying question,
Okay.
but, we could not do a discussion.
20% of 88 is roughly 18.
Is 18? Yes. Mhm.
16. Is that the number of units?
We have 88 units and 20% of that is low-income seniors. It's all senior housing. But we're doing 20%.
18, right? 18 is the number. 18? Yeah.
Thank you.
And then Chair Cohen, we also have, Ford, who has also requested to speak on items not on the agenda.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'm just gonna go on sort of where Gail left off and just talk a little bit more about the proposal. Now, I'm the developer, so I'm very familiar with the proposal, but I kind of want to talk a little bit about the housing element and about the need for senior housing, which probably all of you guys are already familiar with, but hopefully I'm not teaching this here, but Los Altos Hills did a survey of residents, and they asked what the greatest need for housing was, and 40% said senior housing. And 78% said, on a slightly different question about what were the biggest problems with housing, that they needed more affordable housing. To my knowledge, we're the only development that has actually proposed a mixed for-profit development with 20% low-income housing. I think we have plenty of seniors in our community right now today that meet the low-income standard. We have so many people who will meet that standard, and we need it. We need this housing. Los Altos Hills made a number of promises in its housing element. It promised to encourage housing for the elderly. It promised to allow and facilitate affordable housing. It also promised to allow and facilitate accessible housing for people in wheelchair or with other needs that seniors often have as they age. And they also promised to accommodate residential care facilities. So far, with this proposal that we've made, Los Altos Hills is saying that their housing element is compliant, which in about 30 days, we'll find out. I'm almost positive that it is not compliant. And that has opened up an area of the law that allows me to propose this project outside of where they have designated. And I want to speak a moment about the designation. So we just heard what they promised in the housing element. And I know there's I know that it can be a hot topic, and I'm not trying to be polarizing. I'm trying to explain the need, because there were 3 sites that were proposed for multifamily and for senior housing. And that's the Foothill College. That's the St. Nicholas Catholic School. And then there's also some properties on Twin Oak Court in the far north in the far south of the city. 2 of those, in order to be compliant with their housing element, 85% of the maximum housing that can be built in those areas has to be built in the next 8 years. But Foothill College, the chancellor of Foothill College, the Foothill College District, has already come out and said we have no intention of building any housing. And also St. Nicholas came out and said they have no interest in building any senior housing. Now, this is the problem. We know the need is there. We know the residents, not only of Los Altos Hills, but the general peninsula here. We need the housing. We have waiting lists at our existing senior housing. We don't have any affordable housing up here. We need the housing. And Los Altos Hills has said that they've made policies that they're going to encourage this housing, but they have only allowed locations that do not want it, do not intend to build it. And right now they're out of compliance with the law. That opens up a very small window of time, probably just a few months or maybe a year, where people can propose this housing elsewhere. That is what I've done. And to date, the town is trying to not allow this housing. And we need our seniors to step up. Our seniors from the area, seniors from Los Altos Hills to step up and say, hey, we need this housing. The other thing I noticed about Los Altos Hills Housing Element is they really rely on your commission, at least in the housing element, to satisfy the needs of their housing element. Number of their proposals tie back directly into your commission. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but they're saying, hey, we are solving our problems with the elderly needs through this commission. So they really are, in their housing element, relying on you guys and what you guys, and your policies. And I'd sure like to see you guys support this housing. It's the only senior housing policy, senior housing that we're likely to see in Los Altos Hills in the next 8 years, unless they radically change their housing element. Because we already know at least 2 of those 3 sites have no intention of building it. And the third one has been entirely mute. So we have no evidence that they have any desire to build any housing either. So we just don't see a lot of that.
You would need to wrap it up.
And I will wrap it up. And if any of you want a little bit more information about that, about those policies, I have some more information. And I really thank you guys for your time. And I hope that you guys can take a thought about this. Okay? Thank you.
Electronically send it to Jamie, she'll,
I will.
that'd be great. Thank you for coming. Our next item are the minutes. Did everyone have a chance to look at the minutes? Did anyone propose any?
Actually, we do have, one additional, virtual hand. Thank you, Candace.
Oh, we do? Okay.
We do.
A
And
public comment?
correct.
Okay.
And that is, Tony.
Hi, guys. I'm sorry I can't be there. I'm not willing to risk my health for the sake of the commission. And you don't need that because I've been recently exposed to COVID and I have no idea if I'm contagious. Anyhow, I'm disappointed that the city council has not chosen to continue the emergency restrictions, lift the emergency restrictions so that we can continue having true hybrid meetings. But I don't want to block the commission having quorum. So I have decided that I will not be continuing and with the commission effective immediately. So thank you very much. It's been a pleasure and honor working with you. Bill, and in particular, thank you very much for your mentoring. It's been inspirational. Jamie, thank you very much. You were just a godsend. I don't know what the city would ever do without you. Thank you all very much.
Sorry to hear that. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Anybody else, Jamie?
That looks like that is it. So we can go ahead and move on to, items for the minute.
Okay. Did everybody have an opportunity to see the minutes? Were there any changes or comments that went to Candace? Can I have a motion to approve the minutes, please?
I so move.
Second? All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Oh, you're opposed or? No, I'm abstaining. You're abstaining, you weren't here, okay.
We would, just a clarifying, we're in an interesting position. A majority of the commission would need, and so, Chris, we would need at least 4 commissioners, to
approve the minutes.
Yes. And so as long as the commissioners that were here, you can vote to approve as long as the other commissioners can attest that it accurately reflects the meeting.
So I did listen to the meeting.
Oh, that is
I
perfect.
think that qualifies him.
Yes.
Yeah, so you want to vote then? Okay, so it's unanimous. Okay, so the minutes are approved. Thank you very much, everybody. Okay, our next item is the work plan. Does everybody have a copy of the work plan with them? Jamie, my last one is December 16th, but I don't think that's the newest one.
No, so there's a more updated one, and we can go ahead.
Because I think you took off Shivari already. I saw a version without her name on it, so I wasn't really sure. Maybe I missed.
That is correct, and that is the one that is currently. in
That's the newest one. So I don't know, did we actually get them? I don't know where I saw that. We must have.
Well, I only have the 16th as well.
What is that?
I only have the December 16th one.
Can you forward that to us?
Yeah, that'd be great.
So is the only change that you made that you took, Commissioner Dixon off the
That is
subcommittee assignments? Otherwise, there's been no other changes. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, just gonna pass it. It's the same thing. It's just that Shivari is not on it. So just look at your December one for now, and then Candace will send. She resigned the commission. So, hmm?
Tony.
And, right.
That leaves me with a very small committee. That leaves me with a very small committee.
Oh, I know, the committees are all we have to sit in and figure it out. I know, that's what I wanted to bring, well, we always have the work plan on our agenda, but I wanted to talk about it today because we do need some restructuring of the committees. And I don't think we can do much of it today, except that I'd like to speak what I'd like to do, and maybe other people want to shift around on certain committees. And then we're gonna have to wait for some new members to come on, and also advice from Annabelle if we're on the right, if this strategy is good, using the 8 domains of the age friendly to structure our work plan. So, that's what we did. That's how this is structured. But, Jamie's gonna be speaking to Annabelle later in the month. And, so anyway, does anyone want to make a comment about your membership? Bill, what were you saying?
I question the basis for making this obligatory in person. So I understand that it is the city council. Tony's comment about infection protection. No contact is absolutely guaranteed to be free of COVID. Yesterday at Safeway, you could have picked up a rutabaga and that would have had virus on it. So if nothing else besides the medical issues, I know that Shivari's was not medical issue, but having a hybrid would allow a functional committee, because this is a volunteer status. And so we also have other activities in our lives. So we're going to have insufficient members here at some time because, for example, next week I'm going to go on vacation, so I wouldn't be here if the meeting were held next week. And all of us have other activities besides spending time in the hospital. So there's things that you just can't foresee.
So before this isn't part of the discussion unless it has to do with the work plan. We have to be very careful on the conversations that we have. And so, obviously we have some change in regards to how we do need to meet. Now, obviously, subcommittee meetings, you're more than welcome to hold virtually. But I think we have to be cognizant that the item on the table is the work plan. So we have to make sure that we're specific to that topic.
The work plan collapses. There's not enough people in it to make anything but a single person in charge of that particular domain. So we're stymied in that fashion. If we don't turn everything over to a cafe and have Annabelle in charge of all of the functioning, then we can't function with this many. I don't know where Jim is. I don't know.
So we did know ahead of time that Commissioner Basigi would not be able to attend today. As far as the work plan, and that could be a part of the conversation. So, subcommittees, the maximum could be 3, which is one less than a quorum, but there is not the requirement that the subcommittee is 3. It could be 2 commissioners, it could also be a single commissioner. I think that is part of the conversation that we can have at this point, is now knowing that we have 2 commissioners that are no longer on the commission, we can look at how the subcommittees are structured and if we need to change who is on the subcommittee. So that is absolutely something that can be part of the discussion.
There's one other part of this that collapses, is there still rules about the number of times you have to attend. And so if that rule is enforced, then you're going to be having coffee alone.
I'd like to make a suggestion. Could we put those 2 items on the future agenda? Those 2 items, the number on each committee, the discussion about that, and also the attendance issue. So I think everybody was thinking about those things. So maybe we can add that later so that we can at least talk about it
The
more.
attendance issue and the suggestion again of a hybrid arrangement.
Yeah. Well, we'll bring that up in the discussion.
Commission vote goes.
The issue of you're dinged, in fact, could be released involuntarily if you're absent too many times.
So, so that I better understand, what, are you looking to make a suggestion or recommendation on? Because again, that would have to be a change in, commissioner policy. And so again, that would be effective for all commissions, not just not just the senior commission. And so, are you looking to make a suggestion or recommendation?
Are we allowed to make a recommendation at this time?
So no, it's not on the agenda to discuss or do that, so it would have to be a future agenda item. But I would need to get clarification to see if that is, at least process-wise, what would be the best way to bring that forward.
Will you be reporting to the city council on this meeting?
A little bit of before we do that, because that will take us we need to finish, I think, the topic at hand, which is the work plan. So I think we need to follow the agenda, and once we get to the staff report and then also to future agenda items, we can make sure that it captures what you are hoping to discuss.
Do other commissions have like work plans?
All the commissions have work plans.
So all of the commissions then would face the same problems of work plan shrinkage.
Not necessarily. I mean, I think each commission is slightly different and the membership is different. As an example, the youth commission has 11 members, not just 7. So, and there are some commissions, unfortunately, I don't know the exact numbers for each of those, but I think it would be dependent upon, the requirements that they would be in person or how their subcommittees are set up. But again, I think we should focus on the work plan, our work plan. And if there are suggestions on how we would like to amend or adjust, or the subcommittee amendments and adjustments that you would like to see.
Yeah, what I thought we could only do today was to go around and see who wants to be deleted from a certain subcommittee. If you have a feeling for it now, if you know what you want to do now, and just anything specific. I don't, in my opinion, I don't think we should.
resign from any of the subcommittees on which I serve.
What?
I do not wish to resign from any of the subcommittees on which I serve.
Thank you very much. Chris, do you want to say anything about that?
No.
Okay. Kevin?
No, I'll stay with the ones I'm on. Do not plan to resign from any of them.
Oh, yeah.
Is that the question?
Yeah, well, or if you wanted to trade or switch around or something, I don't think we should make a lot of changes, but I do have a change that I'd like to make. I'd like to join the action plan committee because I'm very interested in overseeing the project collaboratively. And so Shavari, Dixon, and Tony were on with you doing that. So they're off now. And I'd like to join you. I'd like to join you.
You got it.
So I'd like to, can I nominate myself for that subcommittee, the action plan? Can you add, so Lee is gonna come off for now, correct? And can you add Cohen for that committee?
Yes.
And I'll just keep everything else for now because I wanna see what Annabelle says about our plans.
Yes.
Okay. So anything else about the work plan that you wanna bring up? Is that okay, Jamie?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you so much. Okay, so we are going to have a report now from the city staff about the age-friendly project.
Can I just add
Yeah.
a comment on my projects on the work plan?
Yeah.
I want to thank Jamie for making the presentation last week. You did a great job. I listened to that. So that was very complete and on target. I did do a follow-up on those places that I did place some of those flyers. And I found that, the Woodland Library, if we had it in a better, we're at the bottom of the bulletin board. I think I'm going to request us to put up higher, and I think it will move our regular library. It was all gone, so I think that's a really great
These are the
place.
spotlights, right?
The spotlights, yes, thank you. The History Museum, definitely. Draegers, those were at the bottom again, and they were still there last week, so a little disappointed in that, so I'm gonna look for a better position. Walgreens was gone, but the little free libraries, not so much. Those flyers remained in those boxes. So I think we should each, as Bill did, grab a bunch, put them in the car, hand them out as you see fit. And when the farmers market open, I'm very happy to go ahead and sit at a booth and talk it up. But I found that the front page of the flyer from the one that we've done was so attractive.
So colorful.
So colorful, so attractive, and people were really drawn to it. So I really appreciate the artwork that's being done on the spotlight.
The new one just came out.
Yeah, I just thank you. So
Yeah.
that's what I wanted to add. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right, so, as the report, I did include some of the background information so that we knew, and as it was mentioned, we were one of the first cities, back in 2011 to be designated as an age-friendly city. So as I updated the commission right after it happened, during our mid-year budget, which was on February 14th, the city council did include funding for the age-friendly project to recertify and create an action plan. So at the moment, I am working on the details, which is to execute an agreement with CAFE so that we can then begin the process. So I do have a meeting scheduled to kind of look at those contract logistics with Annabelle later on this month. And then one of the suggestions she has put forward is also to utilize some of the tools that AARP has put out, and so have done some outreach there as well. The anticipated timeline is roughly 6 to 8 months, and that for the overall project, because that does include obviously the focus groups that will need to be done. So once we get the contract executed, we can look at what that timeline is and obviously engaging the commission, because that will be a component of the process itself. So more information to come as we move forward, but and what Annabelle did share is that she will be in the area sometime in April, and so I'm hoping to get some of that, the paperwork side of it completed so that we can capitalize on when she will be here in person, in the next month and a half. So that's where we are in process. Once we get, the agreement executed, then we would be able to start working on the various pieces, like the, focus groups and things that will help lead into the action plan. Happy to answer any questions if there are.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Lay out timelines, what's gonna be happening in what month, for example.
Correct.
So we know where how we're moving forward.
Yes, part of that process, once the agreement is, because CAFE is working with a number of other cities and counties on the age-friendly initiative. And so, besides our timeline, it will also have to function within their scope, for their staff as well too. So that's part of what we will be working out. Absolutely.
Thank you to all you and all the rest of the people involved in this.
So no, we're heading in the right direction, and pretty soon we'll be able to start doing the meat of the project.
Thank you, thank you.
Conversations with Annabelle suggested roles for the commission members. Either attending the focus groups and taking notes. That was one specific one. I don't know what other things, but given the number of current commissioners, we're going to be busy.
There's gonna be money in the budget to cover some of that too.
Yeah.
So, we're not completely responsible for that. I mean, you have to be, very well trained to run a focus group appropriately. So we just can't march in there.
We're not running it, we're amanuensis.
Well, I know, but anyway. Yeah.
I know that this is probably out of order. Is there going to be any effort to get new members of this commission?
So I can definitely share more, but there will be usually a one-time, there will be recruit for the vacancies that we have on the commission, but I can share more during my staff report.
When you know more, you'll share it with us. Okay, yeah. Okay. Any other questions for Jane? We know you're working hard on this, I appreciate it. We're kind of chomping at the bit because we've been waiting, we wanna do something, substantial, get our teeth into something that we can help you, get this accomplished.
Sure.
Okay, so we have commission and subcommittee reports next. Are there any reports from any of the subcommittees at this point?
None for transportation or housing.
Yes, we've been kind of at a standstill waiting, for direction from Annabelle, because we don't want to start doing stuff when it's not going to be part of the plan.
And the steering committee does not have a report. What is the official name again? Steering
It is the recertification.
Recertification Committee does not have a report at this time.
So no reports. We don't have any reports. So there's no reports under number 4.
Yeah.
Okay, then staff oral reports.
All right, so I will do just a few, and then I will leave the Premier Passport for Terry to talk about. But I will highlight that in your packet, we included a flyer on the upcoming Family Fun Day. So we did just have one this past Saturday, which we probably had about 400 to 450 people come through the community center. Even though it was raining, we had a number of families that, and it was a storybook theme, so a lot of different arts and craft projects centered around different children's books. And it was partially sponsored by the Friends of the Library, organization. We do have two more coming up in May and June. And then, again, they're quite popular and brings out families to, over the weekend, on Saturdays to the community center. We also have our upcoming spring egg hunt, which is scheduled for Saturday, April 8th, roughly starting around 9:30, and then the egg hunt will begin, at 10. And this is a return to our regular in-person egg hunt. It was a slightly modified version last year during the pandemic, but this will be out on the Hillview soccer field. And I will say, on the ones that I've been a part of, there's a lot of setup for the event to be over in basically 30 seconds for all the kids to find all of the eggs. So we're excited, and we're always looking for volunteers. So if you have an interest, please let me know, and I can connect you with Bridget Matheson, who generally oversees our volunteers. If you're interested, we would love to help for that day of the event. We are also hiring for positions, summer positions, and then also positions with our preschool and adult 50+ program. Summer camps are right around the corner, and we're in the midst of getting ready for that. So we're looking for camp director and camp leaders for our very popular Redwood Grove camp over the summer. So there is information. So if you happen to know anyone that might be interested, please feel free to forward the flyers to them. And that is it for me, and I will turn it over to Cherry, who can highlight the Premier Passport and other additional adult 50+ program happening.
Okay, so I guess I'll start off with the Premier Passport. And first of all, say hello.
Oh, Cherry, do you want to maybe join up here?
Okay.
Slowly, because it's not very fast. Hello.
So the Premier Passport membership is going very well. We have so far 89 members signed up. That's just in the month of February, from January to February, March, excuse me. And we are maximizing our membership perks by presenting activities and special events for members only, which is enticing those who are not members to say, oh, I want to be a member. So that's going along quite well. Some of our membership perks include free sports programs. Down at our pickleball site, we mainly have members these days. We rarely have as many drop-ins as we used to. A lot of them are coming in and signing up. We also have our free equipment loan program where you can borrow equipment like mahjong or pickleball, bocce ball, things like that. The DMV package we now have in case members need to study for their driver's test, which I'm one of those. Then we also have discounts with our adult 50+ classes, primarily. But if you want to sign up for another type of class that's not with the adult 50+ program, of course, that will go with the usual program. And then for our special events, there are discounts. Then we have other meetups for members. We have free birthday lunch every month. We allow, if you let us know that your birthday is this month, you can have a free lunch on us. And then, of course, there's a notary service. And then there's free drop-in programs, which again, that goes with our ping pong, our pickleball, bocce ball, things like that. So that's our main thing about our Premier Passport program. And now I'll just go ahead and share some other highlights that we have. We have tax season is still in full swing, and that's going to be going until April. And you can come and you can either call us or come in and make a reservation to have your taxes done right here in this room. And they're usually going on Mondays now, mainly Mondays. We also have our ongoing speaker presentation, and Dr. Scott Cady, who has been doing a series of talks around the Pirates of the Caribbean. He's going to be with us until May, so once a month up here at Los Altos Community Center, and then once a month down at Grant Park. And along with that comes a light lunch. We offer snacks, or kind of like a reception kind of environment for everyone to enjoy themselves. And then, of course, we have our third Thursday movies. For March, we're going to have My Left Foot, which is a movie with Christy Brown or Daniel Day-Lewis. And it seems to be a light comedy type of movie. Okay, good. And that movie is going to be, we're going to start showing the movies right here in this room as well. And then we're going to have our meetup. We have our meetups for our members. And those, our first one is going to be March 21st, where we're going to be going to a group painting adventure. And painting adventure, where you paint, they show you how to paint a portrait. And afterwards, you're going to go to Bellagio restaurant to have a nice lunch. And then we're going to go to our mini trip, which is going to be Filoni this year, for the annual spring visit. And that's going to be April 13th. And again, these are both members only events. So if you know anyone who wants to come along and they want to become a member, have them come on in.
Is there an additional fee for the Filoli beyond membership?
Yes, there is. It'll be, well, it's a typo here, but it'll be $55. And that will include the bus transportation and the gratuity for the bus transportation. So, and there's going to be lunch there as well. So,
The lunch is not included in that?
no, it is a no-host lunch. Yes. And then we also have our drop-in programs, but we've also collaborated with the Daughters of the American Revolution, and they're going to be having an event on April 11th. They're going to be writing cards to the men and women in our armed services for the 4th of July Independence Day event. We've been doing that ongoingly, actually. We started back in the fall, where we wrote greeting cards to the men and women in the service for the holidays, and then we went for Valentine's Day, and now we're going for the 4th of July. So the event itself is starting to grow, and more people are coming to create greeting cards, and we're supplying the supplies and the refreshments for that event. And then DMV is coming back with presentations where they're going to help those who are in need of learning the new rules or laws regarding driving in California and getting the DMV package to study. They're going to be doing some presentations for us. The first one's going to be Tuesday, March 28th, here at LACC, or the Los Altos Community Center, right here in this room, from 10 to 11:30. And then at Grant Park on March 29th from 11 a.m. to 12:30, and that will be in the multi-purpose room. And that's what we have so far for our events and activities. Any questions?
Quite a lineup. There was a great article in the Town Crier about the AARP taxing note. Well done.
Right, and then with that, I will turn it over to Sarah Robustelli in Los Altos Hills for her report.
Can you hear me okay?
You're a little bit soft. I will turn you up a little bit.
All right, thank you. All right, test. Is that better? All right. Good evening, senior commissioners. Good to see you. I first wanted to report that our spring summer activity guide is now available online. I will follow up with Jamie and her team and get this link distributed to all of you, which includes a lot of programming and events that I'll be talking about this during this report. So wanted to remind you, there are monthly pathways walks that will be held the last Thursday of each month from 10 to 11. Meeting is at the Parks and Rec building at Town Hall. There's a club memoir writing, which is a facilitated conversation with a coach and a group of like-minded individuals that want to write their memoir. This is a paid program. And then I wanted to highlight one of our committees, the Community Relations Committee, yesterday hosted a successful newcomers welcoming reception, which was a reception for all new residents who have moved in within the last 4 years. There were over 100 attendees of new residents, along with city council and chairs of each committee. So that was a successful event. We wanted to also then showcase a few items that are in your packet in today's flyers. We have a drive-through shred event that will be coming up March 18th, which is on a Saturday from 8 to 11 a.m. That same day, we will be hosting a chess expo March 18th from 2 to 4. That is in our council chambers. And then later in March, Friday, March 31st, we have rescheduled this, but I promise this one will be taking place from 7:30 to 9, which is the chamber music concert. It's a ticketed event for $20. There is a reception after about an hour's play of Telegraph Quartet, who is an internationally known quartet. If you haven't been, we highly recommend it. And then for our dog owners, we have Hop and Hounds coming up. It's a biscuit hunt for dogs. All of the proceeds benefit Pets in Need, which is the shelter for Los Altos and Los Altos Hills pet owners. This will be taking place Saturday, April 8th from 9 to 10:30. It is an on-leash hunt in one of our beautiful preserves. And lastly, the special event I will be highlighting is the Pathways Run Walk. We are open for registrations. It will be taking place Saturday, May 13th. This is a 1-mile walk, a 5K, and a 10K. And sign-ups are on our website, and that concludes my report. Happy to answer any questions if needed.
I didn't get any flyers attached to my packet. Did you send the flyers to the packet?
Yes.
Did anyone else see any flyers?
No.
We only got we got the minutes earlier, so they weren't resent because there were no changes. We only got the agenda for the day. It's 3 pages, but that last page just had, so we didn't get any of the flyers. Did anyone see them?
No.
So
I will double check.
Dropped out, or maybe you could send them out?
Sure.
Thank you. I hated to say that because I didn't want to be.
Oh, no, but it's
Wanna be
good to know.
someone that couldn't find them or something.
Not at all. If it didn't come through, we will make sure that all of you get it.
Thank you. Great. Thank you very much. Okay, the next thing is, the senior services roadmap. Do people see that? We got that. I looked it up. I mean, Jamie sent it out via email.
Correct.
I forget the date, but I just searched for her and then scanned down for it. It's the Senior Services Roadmap for Los Gatos. And it's an 82-page document. So for myself, I only printed out the executive summary and the table of contents. It is such a thorough thing. I mean, I scanned it and it was amazing. And I think that, are they age friendly yet, or are they in process also?
So, they just completed theirs, which is, so part of why they also shared, so Santa Clara County, all 15 cities are designated age friendly. Some of them are in different processes in regards to recertifying. Los Gatos just completed theirs, and part of it because they were also looking to get information about this site because they're hoping to do something similar. And so they toured our facility just to get a better understanding of the process that we went through. And then they shared the overall findings with us. And so that's what we forwarded on to the
When I was looking through it, there were so many similarities between the action plan.
Yep.
And most of the components that they were, so it's like our fourth example of an action plan, but it's not exact. They did about 5 or 6 out of the 8 domains that are a good match, and the other things, they just chose other stuff, but so they must have used that data for their action plan. I'm sure they did, because it just fitted so beautifully. So if you're interested in looking at that, you could look back on it and.
Do they use Cafe?
That part I'm not sure. I would have to double check. But I think there, quite a bit of it was staff driven. And so I would have to double check.
Any other questions about that?
No, that was excellent.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see. So commission subcommittees, several reports. Okay, so now it's time for requests for future agenda items. We had 2 or 3 things that was brought up earlier that we wanted to put on. Bill, you had 2 of them, I think. What was?
One, the process of inviting new members to the commission. 2, a detailed, even if you can't put in the exact dates, plan for the steps actually to start the cafe master plan process.
And you'll be giving an update from.
Yeah, at this point, I think age friendly will, similar to the work plan, would probably become a reoccurring topic on the agenda.
Every month, yeah.
And then I will do a little bit of follow-up just in regards to what additional information to be shared about recruitment and filling those vacancies on the commission. I will find out information from our city clerk's office and then bring that back to the commission.
And I guess the other one,
There's one on the absence plan too. You brought that up.
we're talking about the 3 strikes and you're out. And also to get more understanding of how the city council decided to mandate only in person.
So I can do just a little bit of clarification. The city clerk, the interim city clerk and our assistant city manager did send out information, but a lot of it has to do with the change in, we are no longer, the state and the city is no longer under a state of emergency. That actually ended as of the end of February. And so that change is actually what changed the setup of the meeting. And so, which is why as of March 1st, we are in person. The state of emergency actually amended the Brown Act to allow participation virtually, but with the state of emergency now no longer in place, the original setup of the Brown Act takes precedent, which means that commissioners are in person. And so that's a little bit of a brief summary. The city clerk definitely provided a little bit more information, as did the assistant city manager. I'm happy to re-forward those emails if that would be helpful. But that was a big portion of why.
We got 2 emails explaining the whole thing.
Correct.
You want to resend them maybe?
Yes, I'm happy to do so, but that's part of what brings us to in-person meetings as of March 1st.
When I read the emails, the tone of them was very off-putting, to tell you the truth. It sounded so punitive. It's like, it was like the prison warden has spoken. It just wasn't presented in a nice, kind way that people could take it in a good way. I think there was I could see there could be reaction to the way it was presented. So that's just my feedback to you. You could understand what I mean, right?
It's somewhat arbitrary, given the fact that the only trigger was ending the official emergency, which then lifted the obligation of going around the Brown Act. Was that correct?
Correct. Yeah, all of our public bodies are subject to the Brown Act.
So that's a connection that is arbitrary. And I don't know what the wiggle room is with presenting, you know, I could go as a public citizen, ask the council about that. And it might be useful if there is a consensus that this is making life harder with other commissions, that having several people attend and speak out. I know that that happens because I was at a tedious one a couple years ago.
Absolutely. I can find out the process to bring those suggestions or recommendations forward and get back to the commission.
Will you give us a report about, you know, how the recruitment's gonna happen or when it's gonna happen, a few things about that? Can you include the Los Altos Hills group also, because we're recruiting from both?
Correct.
We lost a member now from
Yes.
Los Altos Hills, and so, you know,
Yes.
because I think our city council interview the Los Altos Hills people also?
No.
Do they interview them and they choose them?
So each individual council selects their own commissioners to appoint.
Is the Hills Council, oh, I'm sorry, that's the council, sorry.
They usually send a representative from their city council for our meetings too. Yeah. Is there anything else that you want to include for the next month's meeting that you can think of right now?
Donuts.
Anything with getting, Jamie?
And it looks like Councilmember Lee has her hand raised.
Lee's here?
Yes.
I did want to let you know, you do have a representative today and we are both hybrid. You have our council member and the mayor from Los Altos Hills present. So we do hear your concerns regarding the loss of your commissioners from the reduction of commission members. I did express concern about having the process in selection being one time a year. So we hear your concerns and we will be reflecting them at council when I provide an update as well as staff providing an update. So just know that.
Being in person does not apply to council members.
Beg your pardon?
So the demand that you be there in person for the duties that you have as commissioners, excuse me, as council members, is that, are you exempted from the need to be in person for all activities?
Well, we're not participating as a Brown Act body. So as liaisons, we can participate hybrid.
Yes, so she's a council liaison. She is not, so if it was a council meeting, she would be required to be in person, but because she's just a liaison for the senior commission, that's a different role than a voting member as the senior commission for the meeting.
Right.
So there's a slightly different role that which allows for participation virtually. Very in comparison to the actual commission.
With your question to Lynette, are they required to attend in person?
I understand for council meetings, the same rule applies to you.
Correct. Going
I wonder
forward,
if that applies
going
to-
forward in March, everyone will be expected to participate in person. Unless you have, you know, you're ill, you could participate hybrid. There are exceptions in which we can continue to participate calling in or virtual. So
So that doesn't apply to commissions.
The council.
well,
you're sick,
if
if you're sick, you can't call in.
if someone is sick, that's within the Brown, well, we have some reasons in which someone within the Brown Act can still participate. And we are gonna get some clarification from our city attorney regarding, like, if you're traveling, you can call in through the phone, and that still might meet the Brown Act requirements, because there are Brown Act requirements that might allow you, but I think for the commission currently, it would require that all commission members participate in person.
And that's my understanding too, because I'm not a member, only a council liaison. I don't count to quorum, and I'm not required to be there in person. But for the council meetings, we are, except I think we have 2 exceptions per year. If we're traveling and it's posted wherever we're at, there's a lot of requirements to that. But in general, as a council, we have to be in person too, starting March 1st.
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. And they meet every 2 weeks also, so that's a lot of meetings to be in person. Right, yeah. Thank you for clarifying. Thanks for coming today and participating. We appreciate it. Okay, so let's see, anything else? I was trying to think, there was one other thing I thought we should put on, but something else that has it rolling that we're always gonna have on. We'll have the age-friendly always on, the work plan always on. I thought there was one other thing that I was thinking of that I should have always on, but it slipped my mind right now. Okay, I'd like to adjourn the meeting. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We made it through our first in-person meeting after
Thank you.
quite a while.
Doggone it. Tony, I'm very sad that you're